Welcome to the How to Configure SharePoint Relational Tabs instructional video. We're assuming first off that you've installed SharePoint Relational Tabs. Following that, open up SharePoint to a site that you'd like to work with SharePoint Relational Tabs on. So, on this particular site, I've got a few sample lists that I've put in place. I've got an orders list, an order line items that holds a lookup to orders, so an order can have many line items, and I've got order line items comments, i.e. I'd like every order line item to be able to have a number of comments attached to it. So let's look at configuring the site to be able to work with these. So we go to Site Settings. Now you should see Configure SharePoint Relational Tabs link here. If you don't, open up Manage Site Features and go ahead and activate the Encode SharePoint 2010 Relational Tabs feature, as you see here. I already have mine activated, so I'll just go back. And you need to remember that for every site that you'd like to work with SharePoint Relational Tabs, you need to activate it on a per site basis. So let's go ahead and open up our configuration page. You'll notice straight away that we have a few key sections in here. The first one over here, it details all of the lookups that are available to configure for SharePoint Relational Tabs. There's one line item in here for every lookup that's in order at the moment that we can straight away just tick and go ahead and work with. Down below here is one line item per lookup that doesn't fit with the rules that SharePoint Relational Tabs has. On the right hand side, you'll see that there's a key section which gives a breakdown, a little bit more information about every single column as detailed in the left-hand configuration section. So if you need more information about what any of these do, you can go ahead and open any of these up for more information. Before we jump into actively configuring the lookups for SharePoint Relational Tabs, let's have a look at the one item that's been excluded down here. I have on purpose gone ahead and added the lookup that I have in order line items comments, and I'll just go ahead and open that up quickly. This here, you can see I'm using the title value in here in this particular lookup. Now, this is one of the few limitations that SharePoint Relational Tabs has, that for any lookup that you add that you want to use for SharePoint Relational Tabs, you need to make sure that you select ID for that. So let's just go back to where we were. So you can see how the flow works. This one is saying this lookup is set to use a field other than ID. It gives a breakdown over here on how to fix this issue. It also gives you a link so you can go straight to the child list without browsing to it as I did before this. Go down to the column, change this from using title to using ID instead, and say OK. We can close that and we can refresh this page. Now straight away we can see both of them are good to use and there are no excluded relationships found. So let's go ahead and activate both of these. We won't put any other settings in just yet. I'll come back to that in a second, and you can just have a quick look at how these are looking. So, save successful, as you can see on the right hand side. So let's go ahead and open orders. Let's create an order 1 item. Say OK. Now we can open that up, and straight away you can see here are the order line items. I can click in there and I can go ahead and add in my own order line item. Line item 1, price is 10 and the quantity is 100. Now while that works, straight away we can see that the flow doesn't work quite as well as we'd like to for this. As in, when I add a new order item, I don't want to be brought back to this page. I'd like to be brought back to the detail page, so I can go ahead and add items straight away. Now this I can do straight away within the configuration section. Let's go back to our SRT configuration page. Now what I'd like to happen is when I click add and save for my new order, I'd like to go straight back to the order detail page in view mode so that I can go ahead and add related items straight away. So I have a tick box here for redirect to display after add for the parent. And I can go ahead and tick that. I'm ticking this next to the correct lookup line here. This one is the order line items. That is a lookup to orders. It is not the order line items comments, which is the third list. We haven't really looked at that just yet. But that one is a lookup to order line items. So we're telling it to redirect to display after add parent, and we'll say save changes. Let's see if this works a little bit better for us. So we add new item, we go order 2. Takes us straight into the order 2, and I can go click in and add item straight away. So that's quite handy. Now for every item here I add, line 1, I won't put in the other values now, you know where we're going with this. Line 2, you can see this, if it's a child in this case here, for this particular example, we wanted to bring it back to here. We don't want it to necessarily go back to the detail page in each case. If we did want to do that, we could do that using, if we just go back to the SharePoint Relational tabs configuration page again, we can do that by ticking the redirect to display after add child, which means in this relationship here, when a child item is added, then it'll redirect to that page. So let's go and have a look at how that looks now, just by ticking that one box. Order 3. It takes us there, that's the parent. Let's go to the line items, we'll add new line item. Line 1, we'll go save. Takes us straight in here, and we can add order line items comments if we want to. And the comments we can add in as simple as ensure boxed well, something along those lines. Then we can go back, and we can go back. We can see, and they refresh automatically as we get to them. We can go back there, and again, of course, we can open one of these, go to this one's items, there they are. If I want to browse into the line items, if I want to browse into the comments, it can be done as simple as that. Let's close all of those down, and let's go to the next configuration section. Let's say we've got a lot of child items that are included in there, and it's looking a little bit cramped on screen. What we can do is we can tick the maximize child list on open box. That does the following. So we've ticked it for this relationship. Open that up. So whenever we open up the related order line items, it maximizes on the screen. As you can see, straight away, you've got a lot more space to work with here. You can also bring it down and maximize it if you want to. That's basically what it does. It really is a nice to have. Let's go and have a look at the next section. The tab order, if we had more than one item, more than one child pointing at a single parent, then the tab order here is what SharePoint will use to decide what order they should show on the actual detail form itself. So by default they're all 1, but if you wanted to have one listed before another, just give it a higher value to be displayed after. For example, if these two were both looking up to orders, if we made this one 1 and this one 2, this one would be shown before this one in the set of tabs that are listed. If we don't like the tab header text that's displayed, we can go ahead and edit this here. Just change this one here, order line items comments, just take that out, make that comments. And I'll make this one line items just so you can see. If I open up an order, there are line items. If I open it up and I open up a line item, there's comments. So you can see the headers are also configurable. Lastly, we have the child list views here. Now for both of these here, we only have one view for each. But what this details here is which view should be displayed when you click on a child tab. Let's go and add in a new view for order line items. Let's say create view. We're going to base it on our all items view. Let's call this order by quantity. We make it a public view, and again, any view that we want to use for SharePoint Relational tabs, it needs to be a public view. Let's go ahead and tick the created and created by. So let's say we're going to sort here by quantity on an ascending basis. We're not going to filter. And what else should we do here? And we will, for price, let's say we're going to sum that. And we'll say OK. So let's go back then to our configuration form. You can see now the relationship between order line items and orders now has a new view called order by quantity, and that's the one that we wanted to use when we open it up. So we save all changes, go to the order, let's go and look at the line items. It's maximized and you can see it's got its new view here. So if you wanted to group by things, order by things, filter by things, you can go ahead and do that. That's no issue. For some examples of some more advanced things that you can do with SharePoint Relational tabs, go ahead and check out our advanced demo video, also available on our site, www.encodesoftware.com.